The VGMA is no stranger to controversies and crisis management, from issues relating to GAMs being pulled on stage, to artists being unhappy because they did not win one category or the other, or were not even nominated in one category or the other, or because the event started a little too late. We'll get into all of that, but let me go to Radical D. That's his nickname, by the way. Dennis, the organizer for Ghana Party in the Park. Dennis, can you hear me now? Oh, unfortunately, we've lost him due to bad weather. We'll come back to it. But let me come to you, Sadiq. I mean, yes. At what point did you hear about the cancellation or the, well, indefinite postponement of the Ghana Party in the Park?
I think I also saw it on a day before the scheduled event. I saw it online, and I saw some of the conversations that was being had on that, yes.
What were the conversations?
Well, I mean, it depends on... What I realized is that for a lot of professionals, I mean, they knew that it was the way to handle it. It's extreme weather conditions that you couldn't do anything about, and I mean, going ahead with the event could have meant different things to the organizers itself. And so the safest thing, obviously, was to cancel. But then again, they also took the best route by communicating effectively and also promising to engage ticket holders. The aftermath of such announcement is very important in terms of how you engage ticket holders and how you engage other stakeholders of the event. I think the first step was good. It was good. Yes, I'm hopeful that, subsequently knowing Dennis, I'm hopeful that subsequently the engagement with other stakeholders, ticket holders, suppliers, and everything would go well as well.
But even before that, we had seen Mr. Drew and Lastminute pull out of the event. They had issued some statements on their Instagram statuses. So that already had got people talking about why they may have quit. So I'm sure at the time when it was announced officially that they had to postpone, there was already, you know, conversation out there.
Well, I mean, the Party in the Park, a lot of entertainment events that do not come without some of these conversations. You know, there have been reasons why they pulled out. I think that maybe the organizers themselves were hopefully waiting to be able to announce or communicate exactly why they had to pull out. You know, but for the final announcement that announced the rescheduling of the event, I think they didn't have much to do. And just sometimes in events, these things happen, where extreme weather conditions or things beyond your control could force you or compel you to push or reschedule your event. In such instances, the best way out is to communicate openly and transparently with the key stakeholders of your event. How
have you managed it in terms of 3 Music and the challenges that you faced?
Well, not only 3 Music. I mean, last year we had to reschedule Wilderland Festival, and we had to communicate. After communicating behind that, we had to reach out to ticket holders. We had to engage suppliers and people that had vendors as well. It's not the best place anybody would want to be. It can be a bit discomforting, particularly when money had gone into the event already. You could see potential losses happening to you. And so in such instances, sometimes, again, your suppliers or people may not agree to some of the payout conversations that you want to have.
Exactly.
You know, because, again, money had gone into it. There were issues that made it impossible for you to have to go ahead with it. And some of them may understand that, okay, well, we've given you money, we could roll it over for a subsequent event. Then there are some that will say, no, you've got to give me my money. And that situation can be a bit discomforting. But the best way out is to openly communicate your challenges. Sometimes communicating your challenges may work for some. Some may also not agree. I mean, we have people, and in instances where you have unreasonable people, it's really a difficult place to be. But at the end of the day, you've got to do these things rather than run away from it.
We'll come back to that, but let me go to Alodia, because I remember that in 2020 as well, you were forced to cancel the 2020 edition of the Ghana Music Awards UK because of COVID. How difficult was it to arrive at that decision that, you know what, as much as we've invested in this, we still have to call it off? Alodia, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's a bit faint. I really can't hear what you said.
Okay, am I clearer now?
Yeah.
So I'm asking that in 2020, the Ghana Music Awards team had to cancel the event because of COVID. How difficult was it for you to finally arrive at that decision to even communicate to the many people who were probably looking forward to it?
Well, it was difficult, but when it happened like that, it's nothing you can do about it. Obviously, it's COVID, and everybody know what was going on. So it wasn't really something that I said I'm canceling on my own this thing, but obviously we all knew. So when we said it's not happening, everybody said, okay, yeah, it's a good idea, because obviously the law won't allow you to do the event. People complained, people wasn't happy, but obviously they have to wait for the following year. And we did it, and it was fine.
Will that be the only time you've come close to a crisis like this in organizing an event in the UK or here in Ghana?
Yeah, that's the first time. Yeah, that's the first time.
So being the first time, like you said, it was difficult. Were you worried about how much money you were going to lose communicating with investors, etc., and probably how that was going to impact on your event organization company moving forward?
Yeah, we lost money, but obviously in this country, the system is working. Once you are registered and you pay your tax, I got money from the government, so I think that helped me a little bit. Not like, obviously, it's not the same amount, but what I got from them, it was good for me to, you know, put things together. So it was okay, because once you pay in tax, they know that this is what you do. They give a chance for everybody that, you know, you can claim whatever you want to. And I put in and I got some money, so I was happy. So that was all right for me.
Okay, let me jump over to Dennis Terrier now. He's the organizer for Ghana Party in the Park. Good morning, Dennis.
Good morning.
Thank God that we can
Bella,
reach you now. Good morning, good morning. We can hear you.
Hope you can hear me.
Yes, loud and clear. I know the weather is not too great as well, but we'll try and have as much conversation with you as possible. But first of all, I mean, postponing Ghana Party in the Park must have come as a very difficult decision for you. Beyond the weather, what was going through your mind at the point when you had to issue that statement?
To me, it was nothing new. We all should learn a lot from COVID. That with COVID in mind, you got to be prepared for situations like this. Also, the lateness of the decision taken was what was worrying me, because you got to remember, we were fully set up. I would say to you, we were 95% set up. Our sponsors and our vendors were also with us on ground. We were fully set up. So my worry at the time was when we're going to take the decision, when we're going to go public, and how we're going to also make our vendors who are on the ground with us setting up as normal. I was feeling for them. But again, we have a template in place for situations like this, when to make the decision, what to do, what not to do. Obviously, it was a trigger warning from the UK Met Office saying, look, there's a strong wind on its way. Therefore, we've got to be prepared for it.
At what point were you informed about this weather concern? Dennis, can you hear us? Well, again, they're still battling bad weather, and so that's
this is something that is already in event management planning. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. I was asking that at what point were you informed officially about the weather and the fact that you may not be able to hold your event?
We were informed when the amber yellow light came on.
Okay.
Amber yellow light meaning, obviously, being in an outdoor space, there's going to be high winds. So the minute that came on, straight away we went into what we call the LET meeting, just to start having our discussions and also do what is right, do a meter reading of the weather every 15 minutes, and then report back to all the various stakeholders. So we started gathering that information. Now, as you know, with the wind and Mother Nature, it's very hard to tell. It's imbalanced. 1 minute, the wind level is high. Next minute, the wind level is low. But then you also got to remember, we're not only thinking of at that particular time, you're also thinking of what's going to happen during the night and during the course of the day when customers are actually coming to the event. So you got to think of their safety as well. So all of this is taking place. The good thing for us is that these measures are already in place. When we come to this decision, how long it takes, all of this is already in place. As I speak to you right now, even the decision to reschedule is also in place. So we are fully prepared and we've always been prepared, putting on Ghana Party in the Park.
Prior to that, we had seen statements from Mr. Drew and Lastmid indicating that they would not be able to perform at Party in the Park. Was this related to the weather warnings, or did they have their own reasons as well for pulling out?
They both had two separate reasons. Laxmid, what a wonderful artist we've got here. He's been able to he's acquired all the rights, traveling documents to get a UK entry visa, which has been granted. However, the rest of his management team have not been granted a UK entry visa. Therefore, it was a joint decision between ourselves and his management not to allow him to travel on his own.
Okay.
In regards to Mr. Drew, it's a different discussion whereby he preferred a means of transportation which we couldn't provide for him to be able to travel on our preferred date. Therefore, again, he decided upon himself that if we cannot provide the necessary means of transportation for him, which we had available, from what he would prefer, he rather not join us this year. Again, we understand it and we respect his decision as an artist and we move on. But it was not to do with anything else but just means of traveling. Yes, that's all.
I see. But do you think that even if the event had gone on, with the absence of these two artists, this could have affected the event to some extent in terms of patronage?
No, no, Bella, we already made provisional arrangement to replace those two.
Okay.
We've managed to get Sister Efia in, and we've also managed to get Jackie in to replace the two that we had this situation with. Yes.
Now, at the moment, how are you managing conversations after the postponements? Because again, this is going to be like a blot. Yes, there are certain people, and there's something that Sadiq said, that there are those who may understand your reasons for postponing or cancelling an event, but there will also be a number of people who may still not accept your excuse no matter what you do. And so how are you managing that as well to make sure that if you do come back again with another date, there won't be the naysayers who might probably, you know, mess up the event for you some way, somehow?
Bella, I started by saying we put safety first. We're also going to put customers first. We have to think of the customers that have made a lot of preparation. And let's not only think about London. There's a lot of people that have come from Ghana. I know people that have come from Belgium, people that have come from Holland, as far as Scotland. So we're going to put all of these people's in mind. The customer is always right. The customer is always first as well in our mind. What we would do is, whilst we are having a discussion on a new date, if any customer wants to have a refund, we would issue them a full refund, because not the next available date might not even suit them. Some people are already booked to go on holiday. Yeah. But we're working with customer is always right. And therefore, if they request a refund, we would issue a full refund for them.
I see.
We actually apologize for this. We also apologize for leaving it very late, but all the measures in place for us and everything that we needed to do, we made sure we ticked all the boxes and we made sure we made that right decision. So
I see.
Most of the customers, some understand. A lot of people have been on the Met Office website. A lot of people watch the news and they know the severe weather warnings that was predicted. So this is something that's totally out of our hands. But yeah, we are looking to announce a new date shortly. Okay. God permitting, and we see what we can do.
Definitely. Don D also joins us. He is the organizer for the Ghana Music Awards USA. Good morning, Don D. How are you doing?
Hi, Bella. Good morning. I'm fine.
I'm fine. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us. Now, have you had a close shave with, you know, managing crisis in terms of event organization, and how did you manage that?
That was the first, our maiden edition, and that was the first year of our entrance into the entertainment space in America. And that was back in 2020 when the COVID hit. Preparations were underway. We were supposed to come to Ghana. And the day, I think it was the day before we flew into Ghana, then we had the announcement that our borders has been shut. It was a tough decision, but again, once the institutions governing such the institutions that take care of such issues, travel restrictions or whatever it is, there was nothing we could do. Actually, there was nothing. We couldn't have done anything by ourselves. So we definitely had to go by or comply with the rules and regulations of the country. So yeah, we had to call off the travel, number one, and then we postponed, and we did an announcement on all our social media platforms and various networks. and also we literally postponed our events, and later on in the year we did a virtual one. I mean, as you guys are aware.
Yeah.
We did a virtual nominee announcement, and later on in the year we did a hybrid program because the restrictions has been relaxed a little bit back in October. So yeah, that was our maiden edition. But so we're bent on putting smiles on our people. I mean, so
okay.
The slightest chance we got, we had to still go ahead and do the hybrid kind of show where we had the virtual and then I think we had about 150 people. They were allowed us to have about 150 people in the venue.
Okay.
So I mean, again, that was because the institutions had allowed us. If the restrictions were still in place, there was no way we were going to do that. Yeah.
Now, for a lot of these events, so there are a number of things that you may lose along the way when you have to cancel or postpone or have to address a certain crisis or the other. Money is lost. Your reputation is also at stake at a point, because then there are people who start doubting if you can actually do it or not. Your relationship with stakeholders also is affected. How have you been able to manage all this while still ensuring that your event goes on?
Yeah, I mean, your voice is a little thin. If you can just repeat the question again, please.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I'm saying that in having to postpone an event or cancel or deal with one crisis or the other, a lot of things are at stake. You're losing money. The relationship between yourself and stakeholders is also at stake. And then your reputation is at stake. In most cases like these, how do you manage the situation to ensure that you don't lose completely?
Yeah, I mean, so first of all, I mean, relationship. Yeah, I mean, the relationship is usually with the artist, because it's Ghana Music Awards USA. We are dealing with the artist in the first place, and being, all things working together for us on our side. The good thing was that we were able to communicate to them the situation on the ground, because they knew themselves that this was what was happening. So at the time, there was nothing we could do about it, and the artists themselves knew. Also, the patrons who had already bought tickets to come to our nominee, and actually we didn't even sell tickets. The patrons who we had sent invites out were aware of the situation on the ground, so they kind of like understood us. And with the main event, we had lost our tickets. I mean, number one, tickets, flight tickets to Ghana. I mean, airfare to Ghana. Obviously, it was tough because we couldn't get refunds back. Up to date, some of the flight. I mean, some of my team members have not been paid back their refunded their ticket money, because some went out of business. Like the South African Airways went out of business. So after that, we were not able to get anything back. But again, the government also refunded some of not refunded, but they gave us some grants where we were able to hold ourselves together. So, the main event, we didn't lose much when it comes to money, because the system in place at the time made it possible for us to access some funds to hold us down. Yeah.
So that's a good point then, Baba, because they all keep talking about the fact that the system works in the UK, in the US, wherever. And so they were able to get some grants to keep them afloat. Yeah. We can't say same for Ghana.
No, we don't quite have such a system. But after the passing of the Creative Industry Bill, for instance, I think the executions of it could have created a system like that. But it's been poorly executed by now, because part of it was that as creative entrepreneurs or business in the space, we're all supposed to be registered. It was mandatory with the creative authority or creative agency. I'm sure if such a system had worked, it could have been a basis to now track, identify organizations and be able to do that. But this also brings to mind the idea about insurance and obviously the unavailability of special insurance packages for events such as ours to be able to cater for some of these losses. But
we don't have that at all.
We don't have that. It's some of the structural challenges that the industry faces.
So if you have to cancel an event or there's some crisis, it means that you're likely to lose your money.
Yes, you have to bear the losses.
What?
Yeah, you have to bear the losses. The liabilities are on you. That's it's crazy where we are in. When the losses come, it's on you, you know. And so I mean, and I know last year there was a meeting that was necessitated at the instance of the National Insurance Commission, for instance, to engage industry. Part of it, from what the brief that came out, was for them to be able to understand or assess our industry and see what products or packages they could come for or create for industry, such that if you're having to do an event, you could, you know, sign up to a premium, and then when there are losses, it could take care of some of these things. But as it stands now, there isn't, and also the execution of the creative industry bill that could be a basis to be able to identify and adjust some of these things has also not been done. As it stands now, I know there have been calls to understand or know what's happening at the creative agency who has been appointed and all of that, and there's no clarity or there's no communication regarding exactly what's happening.
So in that case, you're not only losing out on probably your reputation, because there are people who may never forgive you for one decision or the other.
Yes.
You're also dealing with...
Yes, it's you're also losing that potential losses, and then obviously sometimes if you're not able to immediately find resources to pay up immediately, it becomes a whole different problem. You know, until you have very, very reasonable suppliers or very, very reasonable, because at a certain point you would have to probably be reasonable, because look, you've booked lights, you've booked tents, you've booked screens, you've booked certain things, and you probably may have made some initial payments.
Exactly.
You know, and these payments, when you go, these guys will tell you, I mean, some of it goes into mobilization. The money has gone. And so finding the money for you, it's sometimes very difficult. And so when you're not able to take up some of these payments, because for suppliers, we know ourselves. So you could say, oh, if my money is with you, don't worry. I have a subsequent event, I can come and deal with you.
Yeah.
For vendors that give you money that want to assess it, it's not everybody that would understand and say you are having a major challenge, even if you communicate transparently and freely. Then they are ticket holders. Sometimes the ticket holders, and lately, because of the digital platforms that have come, you may not own the digital platform that sells the ticket. There will be a third-party vendor. And whatever transaction that happens, there's a certain percentage that accrues to them. Now you're having to make payments. Also, because it's a tech platform, they have to pay for the proprietary and make certain payments on it. Whatever percentage they are charging me, I'll factor that out. And so if they're having to make a payment, then there's a challenge. There's always the whole idea is, okay, well, because it probably was done by a mobile money system, there have been charges to us and everything. We're having to take it out. Who bears that particular initial percentage that's in between? It's a conversation. And all of that you have to take out. That's why the plausible way is to have a conversation and say, to the first conversation, so, okay, will you be able to roll it over? You know, but as it were, it's not every ticket holder that would agree. You know, some are, and last year I saw the conversations on Afro Nation when they had to reschedule Afro Nation Portugal, which wasn't through they are doing because of COVID. They had to reschedule it. They had conversations and everything. There was huge backlash on social media. Why? Because people still wanted their money. So I don't want that. And in between that time, it's not everybody that will be patient. And sometimes lately these days, before you realize or before you say jack, the conversations are all out there. So if you do not have the thick skin, if you do not have the calmness to be able to go through that storm and calmly deal with some of these things, you may mess it up. You know, but it's commendable how Dennis and Co is handling it. I can understand the investment that had gone into this, and through no fault of theirs, they've had to reschedule. And then now some of these talent that you've booked are probably been booked on other events. They've got to leave town, and it's not the best place you would want to be. So
do you have to be honest with your stakeholders, especially maybe those who have bought tickets, or sometimes you withhold some information because too much of that may also just
you've got to go full haul, be openly transparent, because I mean, at this point again, like I said, there are some that are reasonable. There are not some that will not be. Look, let me give you an example. When we scheduled Wonderland, there were a number of vendors that had signed up. Then we had a conversation because money has gone into it. Explain to some of the vendors and say, well, we would want to, because we're coming back again, we would want you to there were some that wanted, there were some that didn't want, that really wanted their money back.
And you have to give it to them.
Yeah, and in between the conversations and turning around and having to pay, it was really comfortable.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me go back to Dennis. Ghana Party in the Park. Dennis, so at this point, because I think I saw videos of Samini arriving in the UK, looking forward to the event, etc., etc. What happens then if you have to pay them now that the events didn't happen? What do you do in terms of housing them, etc., etc.? How are you managing all that?
The artist welfare is very important to what we're doing. We're making sure we're looking after them before and after the event, whether the event is on or whether the event is off. This is something that we've discussed in the past, and it's very important to take care of artist welfare because they are celebrities. We've got to be able to look after them. I must say, all the artists are cooperating. They were actually all on the grounds with us on Saturday, when the high winds was taking place. They fully understand. Whilst we're trying to change the situation or make sure we get a new date, they also appreciate that, look, they're here to support us. Whatever we decide to do, they are here to support us. But I want to take something that was being said earlier on by yourself. I may be asked, you could correct me. Did you say earlier on that you saw on social media that one or two artists has chosen that they're not coming to the event or they will not be at the event?
Well, it was a statement they had put out on their social media statuses.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, that's fine. It's such a shame. This is more of a bigger issue than Ghana Party in the Park. The reason why I'm putting it out there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Artists could take to social media to put out a statement about them not coming for whatever the reason will be. However, you've booked an artist. It's had a whole of 6 to 8 weeks to promote the event. They've not promoted the event that they are performing at. However, they have the chance to put out a statement rather to say they're not coming because of X, Y, Z. Our system between the whole ecosystem is not working. And these artists have to realize that we are there for them.
Okay. We're talking about Mr. Drew and last week here.
Are there for them. Nobody better will promote you than a Ghanaian promoter in the diaspora.
Okay.
There are other companies that are now coming into the fold, whereby we've prayed for them to come into the fold. But also do remember, there's nothing better than your organic Ghanaian promoters or your community here in the diaspora. It doesn't make sense to me, an artist has got various artworks and hasn't posted the events they're performing on. However, they are quick to take to social media to put out a statement saying they're not coming.
Dennis,
Does that make sense?
You're saying that what? Mr. Drew last week never promoted the event?
Go on to the same. Did you see them? Maybe not you, but did your team do a research to see if they promoted the event? Yes? I could guarantee you not one single post. Social media is free. It's your page. You do what you want to do on there.
Yeah.
Okay? It's your page to send your message to your fans. I'm coming to your city. If let's take as far as New Zealand or Australia. Ghanaians living there, you want to reach out to them. What do? You use your social media platform. Maybe UK, US, or Europe might be easy to communicate. People in far places, how do they get to know of you?
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Whereby you're holding the promoters responsible, you, the artist, think of how you're also acting. And then we say that as system before. Then we sit back and say, we want to go to the Grammys. How are you going to go to the Grammys when you haven't got certain dynamics in place? How many record labels do we have in Ghana? How many management do we have in Ghana? Ask some of these same artists, do they even have a media kit? They don't. Some artists are sitting there, don't even know if they got a passport, don't have a passport. Some artists don't even know if their passport is expired or not expired. You see what I'm coming from?
Yeah.
So therefore, it's very, very easy to blame the promoter. You also got to understand the promoter has got a lot to lose. Okay? A promoter has got a lot to lose. Artists could go with their emotions at any given time.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Some artists is a good relation. Let's mention our very own Sarko has been going through a lot in the last couple of weeks. He's been professional enough to make sure he meets what the promoter has agreed for him. Other artists will take to Twitter or to social media and say X, Y, Z. Does that make sense?
How do you expect them to respond to something like this or to communicate to their fans and other stakeholders of their absence at one event or the other?
All I'm saying is that the same way you would take to, the same way you're proud to let people know you're not coming to an event which you've been billed for, use that same energy when you build for it to push it as well. I'm hearing of Ghana Party in the Park is being postponed or cancelled. I'm getting calls from so many different places. People hear bad news quicker, which we all know.
Yeah.
However, what we are doing, as well as being business-minded people, we also providing something for our community.
100.
Entertainment for the community helps. You know, people are in this country doing 9 to 5, or some people are doing 6 to 6. This is a form of relief for them as well, what we do.
This is a tough one. Alodi, are you still there? He's not. Maybe we'll just raise him on. But since you're here, Sadiq,
Yeah,
this is a new revelation. I mean,
well,
I honestly haven't done my research to check if they promoted the event or not.
Yeah. I mean, Dennis had actually raised a very important issue that has always been there. I mean, it's a concern really, particularly the disconnect between talent community and the businesses that are in the value chain that are supposed to. We're all supposed to work together, and this is it's a very, very major concern. The day you raise it, look, I'm sure if you go to Alodia, he will raise a whole lot of issues, and it's not only Alodia, it's not only Dennis. We all feel it, you know, we all feel it because the whole conversation has been had to us. Look, it's a value chain, and when you have a value chain, it's important that we're able to support each other. There's been enough said about having to support your own, playing your own talents, music, prioritizing your own and all of that, which is good, which is fantastic, which is what we all should be doing, right? But the idea is that when you are done with all of that, what happens?
What happens?
Particularly when you're dealing with an industry when there isn't so much to go around in terms of money for everybody. So it's got to the point where you've got to hold each other to be able to enable the value chain for each other and protect the value chain for each other.
Okay.
In the absence of that, that's what opens us up to foreign domination in markets.
Exactly.
Because particularly you as Dennis, as Alodia and co, they probably may have taken a patriotic stance to say, look, we're going to enable our Ghanaian talents, we're going to enable our homegrown music and all of that. But if there is no attempt to enable them back by the talent community, it opens them up to all these international foreigners that are looking for their services to tap into the Ghanaian diaspora market. And then you lose the market entirely. So the point has always been that everybody should be able to think about the sustainability of the space enough to act responsible to it.
This is really sad, though. Is Alodia still on?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Dundee is there. Let me just find out from Dundee. How easy has it been getting the artists that you book for your events to promote the events ahead of time?
I mean, like again. So first of all, before going to an event with an art, building an artist for an event, we all know like the first thing we do is to sign a contract with the artist, right? That's a basic fact that you sign a contract with artists and make sure the artists go by what they are supposed to do prior to the event and during the event and after the event. So usually when you don't do according to the plan, then we have to revisit the contract where we ask questions like, this was what you were supposed to do prior to the event, during the event and after the event. So what's happening? Why is it that you're not doing this, or why is it that you're not doing that? Now usually what like Dennis said, if we all face those situations, I mean, one way or the other. But how I manage it is that I reach out to the people. You know, I reach out to the artists. Hey, dude, I mean, hey, you are not going by the contract. You know, you are supposed to be paid. You are getting paid by me. So if I'm paying you, you're supposed to go by what you are supposed to do. So if you're not doing it, it means like you're gonna have a problem when it comes to contract. And most of these artists, I mean, frankly and funny enough, I've had this situation with only one particular artist who, I mean, was billed last year, and he thought it was cool to post our flyer or to promote our event. Again, I know the artist is not an event promoter, but the artist is an entertainer, and your social media is free, and it was in the contract that you will post our flyers prior to the event. But he thought it was okay to post the flyer 2 days to our event. So I reached out to him the week before. And I told him, listen, by contract, you're supposed to do this. Oh, so don't worry, I'll post it. Then 2 days to the time when he got into America was when he thought it was okay to post the flyer. And that's where we had our problems. And we squashed it. I mean, however we solved it, it was amicable between the two of us. He lost some part of the refund. And we also went ahead and did what we had to do.
I see. Alodia, do you also face this challenge?
Say that again.
Do you also face this challenge where artists, for some reason, don't promote your event, even when they're billed to perform?
Of course, we all do, and it hurts. You know, sometimes, like they always say, oh, like what Don said, they're not promoters, obviously, but it's event that you are performing on. So me, usually what I do, I'll send you the flyer and I'll give you a message. But if you don't post, I don't bother call. I won't call you. Because at the end of the day, if you want to post, you will post it. So I don't force myself calling you or come on, post it. And that is really wrong. Yeah. Once you're on the event, we build you for it. We paid you. Agreement has been signed. I don't need to call you before you post the flyer. If in this Ghana Music Award, you do a nominated flyer with the artists, all the categories that is in, you send it to them. They don't post it.
Sad, man.
They don't. But what we have to say, whether you post it or not, the event will be sold out because we've been doing this for years. But it's nice for your fans and for your people to know that you are coming. You know? Yeah. It's really nice. Your fans in London will see on your page that, oh, you posted, you said, oh, yeah, you are coming. Not all of them, but majority of them don't post it. And it's not good. They think they're doing us, but they're not.
So how then do we ensure moving forward? Because even signing a contract with them does not necessarily encourage them to post it. What are we going to do to ensure that as many of them promote the event ahead of time? Because whether we like it or not, they would also draw a crowd to the event.
Yeah, I know. Some of them will say to you, well, what they will say, oh, I just want to get to UK, unless maybe if I don't come, blah, blah, blah. So why should I post it? But once you sign the contract, you've been to the embassy, you got your visa. What does that tell you?
You receive a down payment.
Exactly.
It means you are coming. So what is stopping you from posting it? Yeah. And if you go ahead and you start talking, it will be like, oh, you talk too much, blah, blah, blah. So most of the time, to be honest with you, me, I don't even bother chasing them. I don't call you. If you post it, post it. If you don't, you come to the event and you see it's still packed.
Interesting one. Interesting. Well, thank you so much for speaking to me. I know you all have very busy mornings, and so I'll leave you to be. But I'll take the final words from Sadiq before we go. I'm not sure who's speaking at the moment, but yeah, thank you so much. I've been speaking to Dennis Terrier is organizer for Party in the Park. Alodia is organizer for Ghana Music Awards UK. Dundee organizes the Ghana Music Awards USA. Baba Sadiq is still here with us. Yeah. Final words. What advice would you give to the artists right now? Because clearly, if we have all these artist organizers and yourself complaining that you don't get as much support from most of them when you're organizing events, that is a problem. Well, it's a problem. And I think that there's always been a disconnect between the business community and then the talent community. I think that we need to find ways to bridge it. Individually, I know most of us are doing our best to have the best conversations. That's, you know, it's like one size fits all. But I think a lot more understanding around sustainability of industries and how all of us play a role in sustaining it is a way to go. Okay. Most important, and also if you hear from Alodia and Co, particularly those that are in the diaspora, there's always a system that that provides them the support when there are shocks or when they take a hit. I think that we need to get to the point where we're able to do that. I'm very particular about the execution of the Creative Industry Bill and how elements of it that will require most of us operating in the space to have to register and be with the creative agency, you know, so that you are known, your taxes and your contributions to industry is recognized, most importantly, such that when there are incidences such as this that impact your business, they'll be able to provide that much needed support to enable you to be able to continue providing the service and support to industry. Right. Finally, when is 3 Music Awards happening? What's the update? The team will communicate. Which team? Are you not the leader of the team? Will it happen this year? Well, there's a new MD. Will it happen this year? Rashida, and then there's a team. Will 3 Music Awards happen this year? I'd rather they communicate. You'd rather they communicate? Yeah. So it will not happen? I think it will be unfair on their part for me to preempt the activities. So you are not aware of what's going on? Well, even if I'm aware, they will have to communicate. We hear you.